Hello and welcome to Tiny Table Talk for The Challenge, Season 38, Ride or Dies, Episode 1. We're going to go over a little bit of my overall thoughts. We're going to be talking about a specific duo in Johnny and Ravyn. I'll get into a couple that I think is Ride and the other one that I think is Dying Out, as well as getting to your comments from my Thursday's review and recap. We got a lot to go over, so let's just jump right in, starting with... Now, I got into my feelings about the premiere episode a little bit in my review and recap from Thursday, but I want to reiterate, this was good. This was a good episode. This was a great way to start the season. Now, I know there's some, clouded mystery. Production isn't being completely transparent with what happened with Kaycee and Kenny, as well as Anissa and her original partner, then bringing on Emmy and Nam, as well as Olivia and Horatio. And as we've seen in the trailers, Kenny and Kaycee come back. So I wonder if they didn't think that they would be able to come back into the game, but then somehow bring them back into the game in some way. So it's interesting how that was handled, and it wasn't handled with that much communication to the audience, yet that did not bog down from everything this episode was able to bring us, which was the makeouts, which was the arguments, which was the format, which is awesome. I mean, to have a rookie pair, such as Johnny and Ravyn, win into power, then have to nominate 4 teams. You have to call out 4 teams regardless, and then you have to pick one to go directly into the elimination, and then you have a draw where you're not looking for a skull, you're looking for safety. I really enjoyed this first episode. I think if we can keep this level of hype and this momentum for the rest of the season, this is going to be good. And at the end, we do have Bananas and Nani coming into the game, and we know that at some point later on, we're going to have Jordan and Anissa enter the game, which will be fireworks because of Jordan and Tori's previous dating history, as well as Darrell and Veronica, OG legends of the game, coming into the game as well. This was good, and the twists were really good as well. I just really enjoyed this. The daily challenge was better than expected. I laughed quite hard in multiple places of this episode. We couldn't ask for a better first episode. Yes, there is some question marks and gray areas with, Kenny and Kaycee are out of this game. They completely leapfrog out of danger. They opt out of the challenges. I'm sure they would have rather been in those challenges and tried to win, but they leapfrog out of that, but then we'll come back maybe next episode, maybe the episode afterwards, who knows? But to me, that didn't bog down my experience with this first episode, and the soundtrack was really good. I just really had a really fun time. I think that this is going to get very messy. I think this is going to be super competitive. I'm just ready for it. I'm ready for the next episode and further on. I cannot wait. I did want to at least mention the pairing of Johnny and Ravyn and how unique it is in a theme and season like this one, where everybody is paired up with a best friend, their partner in life, a sibling, somebody that they truly can count on or feel like they can count on. But with Johnny and Ravyn, to me it feels like they're in a completely different season. Whenever they're on the screen or talking about each other, I feel like we're watching exes rather than ride or dies. It makes me question, because I know that they probably called Johnny first because he was on Love Island and he was on another Paramount show, All-Star Shore. So they probably called him, asked him if he had any friends that were willing to run a challenge season with him, and he said Ravyn. They talk about their history on how Ravyn wants to be more than friends, but Johnny doesn't want to commit. He's making out with all these different women on all these different shows. Does anything cross more wires or make things even more ambiguous about what you mean to the other person if you ask them to be a part of a challenge season called Ride or Dies? To me, that's just putting you on another level of what are we? Well, I don't want a relationship with you, but I want you by my side at all times. But we're not going to be dating or anything. But you are my ride or die. Did Johnny not have any other friends that he could count on to be his ride or die that wouldn't be jealous or be upset with him hooking up with somebody else? This is disaster waiting to happen. And some of the stuff that's put on social media between Nerys and Ravyn, it doesn't look like it gets any better this season. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the mess. I'm happy that Ravyn and Johnny's dynamic is on the season because it's only going to pop off from here. It's going to get messy, not only from their decisions and who they decide to send in and put in the line of fire in the elimination, but also just their team dynamic is just going to bubble over and just get messier and messier as we go along through this season. They are one of probably the most dysfunctional pairings on the season just right now because we know that Jordan and Nisa are coming in. They're manufactured ride or dies. So out of the teams, I think Johnny and Ravyn are more towards the bottom when ranking players and teams on how ride or die they are together. So I would put them down there. And then once Jordan and Nisa come in, then I know that they're going to be even more like butting heads with each other. But as of right now, who is on the season? I don't know. Johnny and Ravyn could just get worse and worse, especially with how close Nerys and Johnny get as the season goes on. I think it's just going to start bubbling over. There's going to be resentment, and it's going to get messy. There's going to be fireworks, and I'll be here with my popcorn ready to watch it. All right, this is the new segment. Instead of MVPs, I want to pick 2 teams every single week. One team will be riding higher than the level of competition. Like they were set up, they look to be in a really good position in the game. And then there'll be another team that I pick who I think is dying. And I mean, they're dying out in this game. That maybe they're not working well together. Their trajectory doesn't look so good. First, I want to get into who I think is riding high is Michelle and Jay. 1, I'm happy that they're back on the season. But 2, hearing how many holes that they have their fingers in this season, that's their words, I think that they are in a great spot. Now, it doesn't help that Bananas and Nany are coming into the season because that could blow up Jay and Michelle's spot, but I have to think that they are looking good. They have that little alliance that we saw in episode 1 with Johnny, Ravyn, Nerys, Amber, Chauncey, and Nelson. I know because Jay and Nelson hang out outside of the house constantly. You also have Annalise. Jay and Annalise are really close with each other. I'm ready. I'm ready for Jay and Michelle to show up, show out, and have this good political presence, social presence, and I think that they're set up for having a really good season, and I'm really happy. I'm really excited. It's going to sound like a broken record, but I do think that Johnny and Ravyn are the team that could be dying out. I mean, it's hard when you start the season off with a daily win. You're going to have to continue that because as a rookie team, you will already have a target on your back. But you win the first daily challenge of the season, and that target only gets bigger. Now you're calling out 4 names, and that target gets bigger. And realistically, no matter who they called out, the vets would be looking at Johnny and Ravyn no matter what. I'm happy that they got into power. I'm happy that they were able to take a shot, but they're also learning more about their team dynamic and how tumultuous and stressful it really is. I don't think it's going to be good. It's not spelling victory for Johnny and Ravyn. That's my pairing of who I think is riding and who is dying. Do you agree with my assessment and my pairs that I picked for those 2 categories? If you don't, let me know down in the comment section below. And if you have your own pairs who you would consider riding and dying, let me know down in the comment section below. But now, let's get to this week's comment section. Now let's read some comments from my Thursday's review and recap. And the first comment comes from Sarah C, who says, I loved the addition of the dagger pool, calls back to free agent / dirty 30, and makes it spicier. I have to say that I loved how it was executed in episode 1. You couldn't have scripted it any better to have Tori and Devin pull the dagger, nothing written on it, Laurel and Jack going second, pulling another blade, and it has nothing on it. You have the rookie team of Colleen and Kim getting to pull the final dagger and it saying safe, and they can call out anybody to be /safe / they have to send somebody into the elimination against Sam and Kayla. It was executed brilliantly, and the shock of everybody's faces when they saw that safe written on that blade, I can't stop thinking about how well that was done. The next comment comes from another Sarah, this time Sarah V, who says, I'm so proud of Amber addressing how none of the vets there have had her back before and just deciding to play her own game, making her own alliances. I hope to see her make it further this season, 100%. I mean, it sucks when hearing that no vets are really trying to look out for Amber, even after she's already won. She's done 2 seasons at this point. This is her 3rd season, yet still no vets have her back. And she would have so much egg on her face if she went back to, say, like Fessy, or tried to work with the vets and like force a relationship there after what happened the 1st season and her previous season, season 37. Like, she would look like a fool. She has finally found a nice alliance, people that actually want to work with her, actually want to play the game with her, and I'm happy that she has that in the game. JK comes in with a comment saying, I loved the feel of the episode, almost nostalgic with people arguing and then some smooches, already some relationship drama. The daily challenge felt old school as well, and the elimination was fun and nail-biting. This season has already outdone the last 5 seasons in one episode. Thank you for reading the comments, MTV. Yeah, I love the feel of this episode. I think the soundtrack really helped it out. It wasn't like so cold and dank, kind of like what they were trying to make the game feel with the spy theme the last couple of seasons and Total Madness. Maybe MTV was reading my own comments, you know? Maybe they were reading my comment section, you know? Let's go to a comment from Tyler, who says, 3 things that made me laugh super hard. Nelson giving the most Nelson speech ever. My gosh. Colleen telling Fessy, you aren't that introverted. That was really funny. That made me laugh too. I forgot to mention that in my review and recap. That was really funny. And what actually takes the cake at the daily, Chauncey may have had to count Amber, but he miscounted the letters in his own name as 7 when he has 8. Yet he did 7 times 5 instantly. Classic, they are in trouble with numbers. Oh man, I did not catch that. I really did not catch that. I just thought like, oh, he had to count Amber's name, when in actuality, he should have gone to his own shirt too and counted his name. Ooh, next up we have a comment from El Alana, sorry if I mispronounced your name, says, saw more personality from Sam in 5 minutes of this than both other shows he was on combined. The marriage will last a couple of years at the absolute most. Oh my gosh, that is such a savage comment, but you're not wrong. I watched his Love Island season. I watched him on X on the Peak, and you're not wrong. He did have a lot more personality. He was funnier than I thought. When he told Kayla that she has a knack for losing, I was laughing. Charlotte comes in with a comment saying, I liked everything about the episode except for the fact that the trailers pretty much spoiled the elimination. We know Tori is there when Jordan comes in, so you already knew they were gonna win. Yes, and I also think that the Ready to Ride launch special that happened recently kind of spoiled that Sam and Kayla were not really gonna last too long. They didn't have a lot of like footage to show during their segment. Yeah, they kind of spoiled it, but if you're trying to show off known faces, and Tori and Devin are one of the more known faces in the game at this point in episode 1, before Bananas and Nani even show up, before Jordan and Anissa, before Darrell and Veronica. I mean, you gotta show them in the game. So it's one of those things where it's like, you kind of just like bite the bullet on that one. It's episode 1. Chasing K Brene, I hope I said that correctly, asks, oh, and what do you think of the house this time? I actually really like the house. Now, I will say I will be doing a more in-depth house tour and my thoughts on the house and all of the rooms on my live stream that I'm doing on Saturday for my Patreon on patreon.com/angelcakevid. So that'll be a segment on there, as well as we're also going to be playing a game. I'm going to have some music and all that other good stuff. At the moment, I think it's better than 37, way better than 35. and I think I like 36, but I think I got to see more of 36, so I can't make a judgment call, but right now, I think I would say I like 36 more than I like this house, but I haven't done the house tour yet. And the final comment comes from Tara, who says, the devil works hard, but Drew works harder. And let me tell you, I'm gonna be working overtime during this season, getting videos out like 6 days a week. When you combine all the videos that I'm gonna be producing for the channel and on my Patreon, that's 6 videos a week, as well as doing a live stream with Chantel on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week's video is going to be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so if you have nothing to do on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hit it up with me and Chantel. But if you can't hang out with us on Friday night during the live, I'll be doing an edited version up on my channel on Mondays afterwards. So you can go check that out on Mondays on my channel. But that is it for Tiny Table Talk for The Challenge Season 38 Ride or Dies. Let me know anything and everything you thought about any of the segments that I covered in this episode. What did you think about the first episode? Who are you rooting for? Give me like a tier ranking of who you're rooting for and who are you rooting against. I'm gonna give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who is watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really, really soon with more Challenge 38 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.